Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're taking one of the most powerful ideas in modern history, and we're putting a price tag on it. We're going to break down the cost of the American dream right here in 2025.
All right, let's just jump right in with a number. And wow, it's a big one. Just over $5 million. Go ahead, just let that sink in for a second.
So what on earth is this the price of? Well, according to a recent analysis, this is the total estimated household price tag for achieving the traditional American dream as of 2025.
But what does a number that big actually buy you? This isn't just some random figure pulled out of thin air. It's a super carefully calculated sum of our biggest life goals. So let's dive in and unpack exactly what's inside. Okay, so before we can even get into the nitty-gritty of the costs, we've got to step back and ask a really basic question. What even is the American dream anymore?
Yeah, this whole idea, the phrase American dream, it actually goes way back to 1931. The writer James Truslow Adams coined it. And for him, it wasn't about stuff. It was about a life of abundance and opportunity for everybody.
Fast forward to today, though, and that kind of lofty, abstract idea has gotten, well, a lot more specific. Modern surveys show that for most of us, the dream is now measured by hitting a pretty clear set of life goals. And boom, here they are. This is the master price tag. This table lays out all 8 of those key milestones, along with their estimated lifetime costs. And you can see the whole range, right? Retirement is the absolute biggest chunk, all the way down to having a wedding. Add all of these up, and that's how we get to that $5 million total. All right, let's really zero in on the big 3, the cornerstones of this whole thing. These are the huge multi-decade costs that really form the financial foundation of the dream.
First up, homeownership. You know, it's the classic image, right? And it is still deeply, deeply ingrained in the culture. The data here is pretty clear. A whopping 85% of people still say owning a home is a key part of their dream.
But whoa, the price tag for that particular piece of the dream has just exploded. The total lifetime cost to own a home is now estimated to be nearly $1 million. So, how do we get to a number that high?
Well, you got to understand that nearly $1 million figure isn't just the sticker price of the house. No, it's calculated based on buying a median-priced home and then paying for it over 3 decades. That includes the down payment, 30 years of mortgage interest, plus property taxes and insurance, the whole shebang.
Okay, now for the heavyweight champion of expenses, the single biggest piece of this entire puzzle, retirement. This analysis figures a comfortable 20-year retirement for a household is going to set you back over $1.6 million. So where does a massive number like that even come from? Well, researchers based it on the average yearly spending for folks over 65, stretched that out over a 20-year retirement, and even baked in a 2.5% inflation rate to account for rising costs in the future.
And for the 78% of us who feel like you can't have the dream without a family, the financial commitment is just enormous. The estimated cost to raise 2 children and then send them to a public university is just shy of $900,000.
And if you look at how that breaks down, it's pretty interesting. The vast majority of it, almost $650,000, is just the cost of getting 2 kids to age 18. Think childcare, food, housing, all of it. The other $250,000 or so is what's budgeted for 4 years of in-state public university for both of them.
All right, we've covered the big 3. Now let's look at the other major life costs that build towards that $5 million mark.
Okay, this next one is actually kind of wild when you see them side by side. Check this out. The total lifetime cost of owning and maintaining new cars for a household is more than double the estimated lifetime cost of healthcare. Pretty surprising, right? And then you've got what you might call the good life stuff, right? The final pieces of the dream that a lot of people feel are non-negotiable. Taking 1 vacation a year, owning some pets, having that one big wedding day. Altogether, they tack on another $250,000 to the total price. So, there it is. $5 million. We know what it buys, which of course leads to the biggest, most important question of all. Who can actually afford to do this? And here's the bottom line from the analysis. Achieving all 8 of these milestones is probably out of reach on a single income. The conclusion is that to get the full dream, you pretty much need to be a college-educated, dual-income household. And man, when you put the numbers next to each other, the reality of that just hits you. The lifetime cost of this dream is about $2.2 million more
than what an average person with a bachelor's degree is projected to earn in their entire lifetime. That's a huge gap. Okay, so before you get totally overwhelmed by that $5 million number, it's really important to remember something. This whole thing is a framework. It's not a mandate.
You know, for starters, these are just national averages. The cost of living in rural Nebraska is way different than in New York City. And let's be real, a lot of this stuff like buying brand new cars or taking big vacations every year, those are choices, they're not necessities. The most important thing is that your version of the dream is unique, and it might not even include all 8 of these things.
Which really just leaves us with one final big question to think about. We've just walked through the math behind one very specific version of the American dream. So the question to you is, how would you define and price your own?